What's up, everybody? Just gonna get Morgan on here real quick. Okay. Is it sending you an invite, Morgan? Still working. Oh, I gotta approve you, that's why. Add.
There we go. Okay. Hi.
What's
Fix
up?
my camera. Hi. Not much. I'm glad our weather is behaving so that we can do this.
Yes. I'm gonna share it in the group real quick so that way we
Okay.
get everything.
Okay. Cool. I'm going to share it too. Let's see.
All right. I think we're good to go.
Sweet. Okay. Here we are. Okay. Okay. I'm sharing here. And then I'm going to share to my page too.
Okay.
Okay.
And I've got it in the vlogcast episodes page, so we got that covered.
Awesome. Cool. And I got my website going, so I think it's all going to like feed to there and it's all live. So I'm like, yay,
Awesome.
get the word out.
I try to do it the night of, like after we do it, I'll download and then upload it into the playlist so that it's available right then. If it's not the day of, it's the next day. So
That's why you do that. It would take me like a week to get that done. So that's why you do that.
I just like to do things and get them done, knock them out. So that's why.
I know.
So,
I do too. And then I have kids and they're like, Mommy. And then I get sidetracked. It's like if you give a mom a muffin. Have you seen that poem or like play on the if you give a mouse a cookie?
Oh, yeah.
It's like if you give a mom a muffin, she wants a cup of coffee and it ends up she never gets anything ever. So it's really funny. That's my life.
Well, we have a couple people live, so do you want to start? I mean,
Let's see.
A couple people on here.
Let's see. Yeah, we got some people on here. Hey guys, thanks for watching. So yeah, tonight, we're gonna talk about chakras.
Episode 4 of the Awaken Vlogcast.
I can't believe we've done 4 already. That's crazy.
I
love it.
And thank you for working with us with last week. There was no way I was gonna be able to do it with moving. It just wasn't possible.
That would be, you'd be way too frazzled. It's just way too much. I was like, it's okay. Yeah. We could take a night off if we have to. It's not the end of the world. So it's okay.
And thank you for everybody that reached out to each of us, like telling us, like that's why we're doing this, to have this community and this conversation continuously going with all of us. And it means a lot.
That was super cool. I was like, oh, we were missed. Like we're doing something people like, and I love that. This is just fun to do.
With everybody, all the people that are always on here live, like I love our interaction we get with people. It's pretty awesome.
Me too. So yeah, if you're watching, comment, ask questions, or I mean, do the little emoji things and just like interact with us, because that's what we love. We love to interact and talk and get conversations going, even if it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I think every episode we've done, we like go off on different tangents, and it all works out together, and we all come back. And hey, Dan, what's up?
Dan?
So yeah, another one I feel, and I'm always so hard on myself because I feel like you're just so knowledgeable about these things. And I'm like, chakras, like I know what they are, but you're so much more familiar with them. And then I have to remind myself, I'm like, well, I know enough to talk about it. And I will learn by doing this. And there's other people that know less than me. And so it doesn't really matter. It's just the fact that we're talking about it. And because I have a fascination with all this stuff. I mean, all the energies, all the chakra stuff. That's probably one of the first things I heard about when getting into all of this. Is you're like, oh, your chakras, your energy. Do some people pronounce it chakras? I know it's chakras, but do some say chakras?
I've heard people say both.
Okay.
I mean, I don't correct people because however they say it, that's how they say it. I mean,
chakras.
Tomato, tomato, right?
Chakras. Anyway, so okay. Why don't you I've interrupted you like 3 times, so why don't you start with whatever you need to start with?
So I just wanted to touch on that again. We're all always learning. So I am not like the almighty expert that has all this knowledge. we're just sharing what we have learned on our journeys to be able to help other people who are maybe just starting their journeys. Because yes, I've been doing this for 4 years now, really, like when I really got into it. You've been doing it almost 2 years. So you have some stuff under your belt.
I guess
but
so.
there's
That's
some
true.
people who are just starting, and we're just there to help them along the way. And because we know what we know and we're sharing it, these people who are watching, maybe they're just starting their journey, they're going to get there even faster because they're getting the knowledge that we've already learned, so it doesn't take them as long to get to it as it maybe did us, like trailblazing, right?
That's true.
We've already whacked down the weeds, and now there's a little path there, so they can get even further than us, probably.
I love that. I love that. And that's funny you say that, because I often think of my journey, especially as a parent, and I talk about being a parent a lot because that's my life, but it's almost like the world that we grew up in is not the same as it is now. And so we have all these different things that our parents didn't have to worry about that we as parents have to worry about. So I often say it's like just trekking through the jungle with a machete, and you're like, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just trying to make a good path for my kids to follow. And so it's like, it's a trailblazer. You're trying to create a path where there's not really a path right now. And so it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's fun. And that's just what we do. It's just, I'm comfortable with the uncomfortable.
But the good news of that is, like, you talking about being in a jungle, right, and trailblazing and like the unknown. If you just stopped in the middle of the jungle, you would just die.
Exactly.
So the fact that you're moving is something.
That's true.
Just keep going no matter what it is, because for sure, if you stop, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, I'll get eaten by a tiger or something. Yeah, like that's not good. Keep going. Just keep going. Yeah. Good point.
So chakras, right? A lot of people, you said that's one of the first things a lot of people hear of when they start going down this rabbit hole, right? And that's because yoga has become so mainstream now than it used to be. And they integrate a lot of the chakra work and breath work and stuff like that. So that's where a lot of people are hearing about it now for the first time. Whereas, like, I wasn't really into yoga back then. I was just researching and getting into energy work. That's how I figured it out. But I think it's really cool because, like I said, yoga not being mainstream, and now it's like you could throw a rock and hit a yoga studio, which I think is awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's way cool.
Yeah, and even the males that are going, right? Because when yoga first was coming out, like, it was an all-women thing, like, whatever, and then now guys getting into it, like, it's awakening people even more, and it's so exciting. So
it is.
A lot of people first hear about chakras now, anyway. Well, unless they know somebody that does Reiki or, stuff like that.
That's true. Or if they even pick up a book and they start reading about energy, like, you're going to hear about chakras.
Yeah.
Because it's just, it's everywhere. Ah. Wow. I'm trying to think. I don't even know, like, how you just have thoughts in your head, but you can't, like, get them out into words. So I'm going to say, I feel like, do you feel like this too? Like, some people, like, you're just more aware of certain chakras in your body. Like, I feel like my heart chakra is, like, super sensitive all the time. And, like, when I really focus on it, that's where I feel like most of my energy. Like, I can actually feel it, like, swirling around, like a vortex almost, when, like, if I'm really in meditation and really deep. And I feel like if I get hurt, like, it's just right in the heart chakra. Like, it's so sensitive. Do you feel like people have different sensitivities, or that the heart chakra is one of the most sensitive just because it is your heart and it's tied to love and emotions and all these different things?
So I think both. So I know in a couple episodes I talked about energy itself. So when you have all this energy, right, you have an energy field around you. Your heart chakra is actually the only chakra that also has its own energy field.
I didn't know that.
Besides just you.
Yeah.
So that's what a lot of people, they talk about. Have you ever walked into a room after somebody fought, right? And you didn't know they were fighting.
You walk
in there, you just feel it. It's usually your heart chakra energy field, because it goes out further, that you're feeling that before you're even present in the room. Like, you can feel it coming around the corner or whatever. Or, like that feeling you get, somebody's watching you or following you, right? Like,
that's
you don't know,
feeling.
but you just know, you feel it. And you're just because you can't see that person or anything. But I think it's both. I think that, so having its own energy field, I think there are some people that are more sensitive. So for me, you were talking about heart. Heart's one of mine. Solar plexus is definitely another one. And I don't know if that's the empathic side of me or whatever, but those are definitely the two that I feel the most. Yeah, that's for me. I mean, it could be different for everybody, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Anyone else watching, do you ever feel like energy on your heart or
any of the chakras? It doesn't
or
maybe
any chakra, just because I know I describe it as like a swirly vortex. Like if you really focus on that, like have you been able to feel that about yourself? I mean, and even thinking about like that's part of your life force. Like you can feel, I forget what book it was. I read a lot of things and I forget a lot of things, but I remember the feeling of everything. And it was just, if you really can just sit in peace and quiet and just focus, you can feel like the life force in every part of your body. You can just feel it flowing through. Like, has anyone else experienced that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's it, because we are not our body. I mean, we're in our body, like, you know,
this is our vehicle.
Right. Our vehicle. But like you, like who you are is just the energy underneath all of it. And it's really cool. I've only done it a few times when you can just feel that part of you. It's really incredible because it's just this pure energy. And even sometimes I feel trapped in this body a little bit. Like if I get a little bit too stressed out or I've had a bad day, you just feel like you just want to like shed your skin. You're like, I don't like this. This feels, I'm just trapped in this body, and not in a suicidal way or anything, but you're just like, oh, you feel so constricted because your energy is in this small form when you're a universal, all-powerful being just in this tiny human form. It's such a weird thing to really focus on and connect with, but it's also really fascinating.
Yeah. Well, that's why grounding's so important, right? Whenever you feel super like I want to leave, that's the time that you need to go ground.
I know, I'm so bad at grounding. I'm so bad at that. I just need to.
You're so good at that. You're so good.
I can be good at that. I'm getting better at that. How's that?
There you go.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Yes. You're so good at redirecting my thoughts. Let's see.
Scrolling back up because we had a couple comments.
Yeah, we did.
So scroll. Oh, there we go. Krista said her crown chakra is what she feels.
Yeah.
So the air being heavy, she was replying to, you know, walking to a room after a fight.
Mm-hmm. God, that's a weird feeling. You're just like, ooh, it's like smoggy almost, just like thick.
You're just like, yeah, like that's how
swimming through this, and you're like, I want to get out of here.
Yeah, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Dan said, I hate the feeling of being watched. Creepy. How do we
weird feeling.
Sense that people watching us? So that's what we're talking about. It's just everything is energy, right? So what we were talking about specifically is sometimes when you just know, one, that's intuition, and two, your energy field is picking it up. Like we've evolved as beings. Like those are things that kept us alive this long to evolve to where we did. I mean, because back in the day, you were sleeping in a cave, right? And there's a saber-tooth tiger in the cave door. That it was coming in, so you didn't get eaten. So we still have some of those senses. It's just evolved, so we don't necessarily, I don't want to say need it, but we maybe don't use it like we used to. Because I think we can always use it ourselves. Like, I'm not saying we don't need it. I think it can actually benefit us a lot.
Yeah.
Why a lot of people that get more in touch with their senses, they get stronger. There's no wrong way to do it, or there's no bad or downside to using them.
Yeah. And I wonder if even because we all are connected, and it's a weird thing to think about because you're like, well, I'm an individual. Like, how can we all be connected? Even like all the seemingly terrible, horrible things, how can we all be connected? So I always wonder if that's part of it too. If it's just the universal connectedness that we have. You just maybe for whatever reason have a connection with whatever person's watching you or whatever person's feeling this. If it's just you picking up on that other part of yourself, I don't know.
Well, think about this. Like, this happens with me and my grandma all the time. Me and my grandma are like super close. Like,
that's awesome.
We've done this forever. Yeah. But have you ever like thought of someone and then they called you right after you thought of them? And you're like,
I was just thinking
about you. Me and my grandma do that all the time. Or she'll text me and I was like, I was just thinking about you. Like, It's just that knowing, like that ping. And I think it's because we are all energy, we are all connected. And I don't think that energy is stopped by space and time or distance, right? So just me sitting here thinking, like right now, I'm sure she might have a thought that pops in her head just because I'm mentioning her. And she's on vacation in Florida right now.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, just the mere thought of somebody sends that energy towards them. And that's why I believe in, like, prayer and meditation. I believe they're the one and the same. I believe that prayer is just intentions, right? So we're getting a mass collection, like prayer chains or whatever in churches when someone's sick. All they're doing is getting a group of people together to put good energy and will towards this person. And then you get a collective group doing that. It just puts more energy behind it. That's my perspective on that.
I love that. I read something about that too. It's like, it's directing that specific energy towards that specific person. And that made a lot of sense to me. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Because I know a lot of people, they make fun of like, oh, you're just gonna say a prayer and send positive vibes. Like that doesn't do anything. And you're like, but it does. Like,
it does. It's the intention in which that person has.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying there isn't someone that maybe they just say it out of like, not necessity, but it's like a program maybe. They like they're not actually stopping.
It's like, sending prayers. It's like robotic almost.
Like a default. Yeah. I'm not talking about that because I don't think that's exactly the thing. I'm thinking if you actually stop and pause to think about this person and like, oh, this person's going through this, I'm going to send them good vibes right now. And to me, good vibes is just love and life. That's what you're sending them.
Exactly.
And when I do that, when I say that and I do that, I do feel that in my heart chakra. And it gets warm and it feels expansive, almost like if I had a ball or something there.
Yeah.
And
it's like you feel it. It's a thing. You can't see it, but it's there and it's real.
And I'm not a parent, but I've heard many mothers talk about this and some dads. So you can maybe attest to this, where people are talking about when you first have your baby, right? And you're sitting there and you get to hold that baby for that first time, that energy, that feeling you get in your heart chakra, like,
oh my, it's like
it overcomes your whole body. And it's like all these different emotions, like happy, sad, like tears of joy, not necessarily sad. Tears of joy and love, like overwhelm you. So was that the thing for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like even now, like you think about your kids or like you see stupid Facebook in their time hop photos and it's like 2 years ago when your babies were small, it's like right in the heart chakra and it's so sweet, but you're like tearing up because you're like, oh my gosh, time went so fast. But I can attest, like that's probably the most powerful connection feeling that I've ever had with anybody, just with my kids. I'm like, those are my kids and you're so protective and that gets back to the, you know, being in the jungle in this new world. And you're like, I don't want to mess it up. And I'm doing it wrong. And like, I suck. I yelled at him today. I said a bad word and they hurt themselves because I wasn't watching for 2 seconds. And so it's just this overwhelming protective love. And it's hard not to be hard on yourself because they're your kid and you love them and you want the absolute best for them. And when you fail, it like hurts your heart because you know you hurt their feelings. It's just this swirling energy ball, but it's ultimately just love. But it's so strong and powerful. And like if I focus on it too much, like it will bring me to tears. And I'm like, I just love them so much, and you know. But it's the most powerful thing I've ever experienced, and it only gets stronger. Yeah. So
I just want to clarify, I'm not saying that you have to actually physically have your child, right? I'm saying even if you're an adoptive parent, I believe you can still have that connection. I don't think that it's like, it has to be blood, I guess is what I'm saying, because I have family.
It's just a connection. It's just a connection of, I'm the parent, you're the child. It doesn't matter where you came from. Like, I love you. You're my kid. Yeah.
I 100% believe that.
Yeah.
I think we missed some comments. I'm going to scroll back up real quick.
We did.
Jordan said, can you explain all the different chakras? Yeah, that's on my list. Let me get to that though, because I want to explain kind of to some people who maybe don't know what chakras are, what that even is. What does that mean? What is that word? So chakra is actually a Sanskrit word for wheel or disc. So think of like a circle. And these wheels are throughout your whole body. You have 7 main ones, which is what we were talking about. So you have the crown. You're not gonna be able to see them all because I'm cut off from like middle of my torso down. But Hypothetically, not really.
Let's see if I have like a little thing somewhere.
So you have your crown, which is above the top of your head, your third eye, between your eyes, your throat,
Let me see.
heart is your heart, solar plexus is at the bottom of your ribs, top or upper half of your abdomen.
I don't want to hear.
Sacral is at the lower abdomen, kind of right around below the belly button, and then your root is at the base of your spine. So those are 7 main chakras that we're talking about.
Let me get my little person here. Yeah, so I have my little person. So you have the crown, right?
Yep.
Then third eye.
Yeah.
Right here. And your throat. Your heart. Solar plexus. And then, let's see, it's sacral. And then your root. It's like, down there.
And the whole reason, so that's a perfect example. So that. The reason they're sitting in the lotus position like that is when you're sitting that way in meditation, the base of your spine is actually touching the ground. It's grounding you. I love that. Go ahead.
Hi, guys.
So it's a way to connect. So you like roots coming from that. So I also wanted to tell them a little bit about like how they work, and then we'll go back to each of the chakras and I'll tell them like the colors or what they help with and stuff like that. Just
perfect. Yeah.
So how they work is they're energy centers throughout your whole body, right? And they regulate things like different processes, organ functions, immune system motions, and each of the chakras have their own frequency or vibration, color, and they do their own things. So say you have, let's just say, a blocked heart chakra. You're going to have issues around maybe some organs around that area. So heart, I think, is a lot with grief, and usually that's tied into like the lungs, obviously the heart, but a lot of lung stuff, so maybe chest infections, pneumonia, stuff like that. Asthma, I guess, can tie into that too. So the whole point is that means there's something going on in that specific chakra. So it can be overbalanced, it can be, overactive, underactive, or just blocked. And I like to explain it if someone's maybe had acupuncture, right? Acupuncture is with meridian systems in the body. So you have like these little, they look like highways, and there's little different areas that are meridians, and that's where the life force flows through your body. And each of those meridians are tied to a different organ or something in the body. You have more in your mouth too, but it's just pretty crazy. But when you go to an acupuncture, they take a needle and they put it in the meridian for whatever area you're working on. And the point of that is to get the chi, or the life force energy, to flow back and balance through your body. So when we're doing Reiki on people, it's very similar to that, but instead of using needles, we're just using hands. And instead of the meridian system, we're working more with the chakra system. But it's the same principle. We want to clear out any blockages, rebalance everything, and just get the life force energy flowing through the way it's supposed to. So that kind of explains how they work.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do you have any questions about any of that part?
I just think it's cool how it's like little highways. It just all connects together. That's just so, like when you really stop and think about it, like how everything's connected, you're like, whoa, like our bodies are really fascinating. Yeah. And not even our bodies, but our energetic bodies as well. Yes.
Well, that's what we talk about, the mind-body connection. When I say that over and over, the mind-body connection is so huge. And this is exactly why. Our thoughts become things, and our emotions are just energy in motion. That's why emotion, that's where it comes from. So that's why when I tell people that come in to see me for Reiki sessions or the emotional healing sessions, that's why we're working on those things, is because if you go through a traumatic event, right, and you don't deal with or process the emotions at that time, maybe because you couldn't, or, whatever, for whatever reason, and you stuff it down, it doesn't go away. It'll manifest somewhere else in the body. Yeah. And that's why German New Medicine, and there's a couple of other ones, they talk about the mind-body connection, how it actually can manifest into diseases later on in life. So that's why it's important to take care of those things and clear them out, because it's going to manifest somewhere. It has to go somewhere. It has to be expressed or felt or got rid of or healed, whatever words you want to use. But that's why it's important to balance out your body and work with your chakra system, because if it goes to a certain chakra, like I said earlier in the heart, as an example, it can cause issues, diseases, or illness around that area. So that's why it's important to take care of it.
Yeah, I just recently finished reading the Emotion Code. I don't know if I have it here. I forget who it's. I went and looked at it. who's the doctor? Let me see if it has in this email. But the emotion code was really interesting because it was talking about that exact thing, is how emotions will get trapped in the body and they will physically manifest into all kinds of different things. And so this doctor, oh my gosh, what is it? Come on, website. Dr. Bradley Nelson.
Oh, yeah. He's a good one. He's a good one to follow.
Yeah, he's a good one. So yeah, he has this whole book that just explains all of this, and people use muscle testing to identify the emotions because the body knows what it is. It knows what this emotion it is. It knows how long it's been there. It knows how it's manifested and what it's affecting. And so when it's really cool reading the book. I'll post the website here so you can go look at it later if you want to. How he's helped probably thousands of different people by identifying these trapped emotions, and it's helped cure them of these different things or help improve their well-being or their state of mind or whatever. It's really, really fascinating. I even did it on myself for a few things. He tells you to, if you're going to self-test, you like press with your finger. It looks like one of those duck things. But I figured out a few, it was like 3 different emotions from myself. And I noticed a difference in, like, one of them was around like productivity and like my, I call it laziness, but I ask myself, is there a trapped emotion that's creating my laziness? And it was like, yes. And I went through this whole thing, identified the emotion, when it was, and it was really, really cool. And I am 100% a believer in this. And I think, we have so many issues with people just saying, oh, just get over it. Just deal with it. Just,
you'll be fine.
It's nothing. You'll be fine. Stop whining, stop crying. Don't be a baby. Like all these things. And we're just trapping emotions everywhere. And it's just manifesting in horrible ways. And we're getting all screwed up because we're out of touch with how to take care of ourselves, and that having emotions is okay. Like it's okay to feel mad. It's okay to be upset. It's not okay to stay upset forever, but you need to process through it. Like get mad, curse, kick and scream if you have to.
You have
just
to
like
experience it to
get
move
it
through.
out. Get the emotion out of your body, or it's going to stay there. And it's going to stay there until you identify it, deal with it, and send it on its way.
And that's literally what I do in the emotional healing sessions. That's how it works. Yeah. That's how I get people like that have had back pain for 20 years, or my dad who had shoulder pain for like 20 to 25 years from a car wreck before I was born.
Yeah.
And I did Reiki and stuff on him and tapped on some emotions, and it's gone. And he looks at me like, "What did you do?"
It's like,
because he's been carrying
sorcery?
this thing for that long. Yeah. It's just like, what the hell just happened? But I've got stories like that of people, and they're, because it is like you said, the mind-body connection, the emotions that are trapped. It's all about releasing the emotional charge to certain events. So that's why I work with, like I said, trauma, like illnesses. That's what I'm doing. I'm going back and I'm working on whatever I can uncover as far as the root cause, the emotional root cause to when this started, why this started, what were they suppressing. And I think it's important what you said, to let them feel it. Like when you feel those emotions, think about children, young children who are like, they say terrible twos, which I think is bullshit, whatever. They're little beings that don't know how to express or, go through these emotions yet. They're brand new to them. And then we're adults and we're expecting them to know and like, oh, behave, do all these things.
Right.
And then
I like that.
they start suppressing it, right? And then that can cause problems later on. So that's a whole nother thing. I think we kind of touched on that before about conscious parenting. I'm not saying let your kid be like a demonic, crazy kid.
Right. Just let them be insane. Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of times it's communication. That's what it really is. If you take a moment when your kid's freaking out, they're going to match your energy. If you're screaming at them, telling them to behave, do this, they're going to give you that energy back. If you bend down to their level, get in their face, and I do this with my niece, like, or other kids, but like bending down at their level, looking them in the face and say, what's going on? Or doing the breath work. Hey, do you want to take a breath with me? Let them do that a couple times and like, okay, how do you feel? Are you upset? Do you want to talk about it? Do you hug? Just like having those kind of conversations, because it's not that they're meaning to be that way. They just don't know how to process these emotions yet. Yeah.
They're like huge emotions in a tiny body that they can't handle it. And I'll say like, I'm so hard on myself about that, because we're having to unlearn things at the same time we're trying to teach our kids things. So we're like unlearning and learning. And so I'm so hard on myself. It does. It helps me. But then I feel bad. I'm like, oh my God, like I know better. But just in the moment, I'm like, I just couldn't do it. I just like flipped out. But then I always go apologize for it. So I'm like, even if I can't in the moment control my emotions, I make sure to go back and tell them, you know what? I'm sorry. I was really angry and I should not have done that. And for me, I'm like, that's okay. That's a step in the right direction. But I do notice when, you know, they're like upset and you just get on their level and you really pay attention to them. You know, you're not on your phone, which sometimes I am. I am not a perfect parent. Sometimes I'm just on my phone. I'm like, oh my God, just please stop talking. You're just so loud. But when you really focus on them and you're just there with them, like,
you're present.
What's wrong? How can I help? And you just listen and you're just there with them. It really calms it down because you've prepared your energy for that moment. They're matching it. And it's really beautiful when it does happen. And that is something
I learn too, like how to process by doing that. Yeah.
And so I'm proud of myself for understanding that that's a thing and that I get better at it every day. So
it's practice.
That's a win. It's a win-win, I suppose. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So do anybody watching, if you have kids, do you do anything like that with your kids? What do you do, like, if you're in the middle of Target and your kid starts freaking out or just straight up lays on the ground doing Target floor angels? I don't know. Like, what do you do? What is your go-to method usually in that situation? Just out of curiosity.
Or if you have a super emotional kid, I know my middle one, he's super emotional. Like, how do you handle those? And, what are your techniques? Because there's no one right way. There's just what works for you. But it's all, based in love and just understanding these are little people that are having feelings and they need to be taught how to deal with those feelings.
Yeah. Like for me, being a sensitive kid growing up, I would get upset a lot, right? I would cry.
Trying to bring my purse wine.
That's funny.
I mean, sometimes.
So I would get upset and cry, right? And one of the things to this day that I still remember my parents saying to me, and this is how, detrimental it was to me or an impact it made on me, because if I am the age that I am and I can remember something as young as I was, like 4 or 5, 6 years old, and I still remember it, that shows you the impact it had. I remember crying and being told, stop with your crocodile tears. Like that they were fake. Basically that it was fake. Like I was just doing it to get attention.
Right.
But I was really feeling those things. And to this day, I'm a crier. Like I will still cry at sappy movies or the ASPCA commercial or whatever. Anything with dogs. Marley and Me, I don't know why I put myself through that every time. Or
why would you watch that?
Because it's a good movie.
Oh, it's so
it gets me every time. And I know it's coming. It still gets me.
Yeah.
But so that's why why I wanted to know, like, what things are you saying to your kids, or like how are you interacting with them? Because I mean, think even back to your childhood. Do you have something when you were experiencing certain emotion, whether it was sadness or happiness or anger, that you remember your parents saying to you, and how did that make you feel? And does it still affect you today, or have you moved through it? Have you healed it? Just curious. I mean, because we all have parents.
Well, so. I'm trying to think. There's not like one specific incident, but I know that I was the oldest, and so as the oldest you're just expected to like know better, and you're like, I've never been this age, like I don't know what I'm doing.
First time being so old.
I know, you're like, I'm just trying to figure it out. And so oh gosh, I remember getting really frustrated when my parents, I think I was a teenager, and they thought I was so messy. And I kept my room really clean and like my part of the bathroom really clean, but my brothers were also in there and they were messy. But I got the blame for all of it. Just like, Morgan, you're a mess. And one time I was getting ready for school, and I'm always late. Okay. So I'm like, I got to take a shower. I think I left my underwear on the floor, and like my parents are so pissed. They took all my dirty underwear and put it out on the tree in the front yard.
Oh my God, that's embarrassing.
And I was like, what the hell? Like, why would you do that? I just left dirty underwear on the floor, and my brothers are disgusting in the bathroom. Like, how does that even compare? I was
Yeah.
like, so I guess I do remember something. So now
And
it's
how does
funny.
that make you feel?
Well, I was pissed. I was like, man, like you're being really hard on me. And my brothers are way more disgusting than I am. And you didn't put all their underwear out on a tree. Ugh.
I can relate.
But I do love
That's
my
how my
parents. I do
husband
love my parents. They were good parents. But I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that made me mad.
I do feel like that is interesting because I kind of have a similar experience as far as like it almost felt like a double standard because I was the oldest.
Mhm.
I'm 3 years older than my brother, and I'm the girl, right? So I felt like I had a lot more expectations for me
Mhm.
and maybe boundaries and things that I could or couldn't do compared to my brother who could literally get away with murder. And I'm just like, what is
I know.
happening right now?
What? Like my
Yeah.
brothers, they could have the door closed if they had a girlfriend in there. And like I couldn't have the door closed with Jeremy. And I'm like, well, that's not fair. Or like cleaning up after Thanksgiving dinner or like big dinners. Like all the guys would be out like in the living room, even my brothers. But it's like, Morgan, come help with the dishes. And I'm like, why can't my brothers come help? So I was very, I think from a younger age, I was like, that's not fair. Just because I'm a girl doesn't mean like I have to do these things. And that may be one of the reasons I'm very, I don't know, outspoken, controversial now. Because I'm like,
It gives you
nobody tells
contrast.
me what to do. No one
Yeah.
tells me what to do. I do what I want to do, because it doesn't matter. I'm a girl and a woman. Doesn't matter. I will do what I want to do. You can't tell me what to do. And probably why I married a man that helps with laundry and dishes and changing diapers, and he's a better wife than me, okay? Like that's probably why I liked him, because I'm like, I'm not going to marry somebody that's not going to help do the things that just need to be done. It's
He has a
not
good
my
balance.
job, it's our job. Like it's balance. It's just fair. So, yeah. That's funny.
I think the things that we experience too as kids, like how you were saying that and how you are now, I think the reason we experience those things is so that we do have the contrast, so that we get to know what we don't want, and by that way we get to figure out what we do want or how we do want to live. Because I can say that with a lot of areas in my life, like what I experienced growing up, and I'm like the opposite of that because those are things I saw that I didn't agree with or I didn't want. But if I didn't have those things, I wouldn't know that's not what I wanted. And I wouldn't have the guidance that I have now for myself. At least I believe that.
That's a good point. So we go through these things. We have these experiences to just show us what we don't want, or maybe we do like it, but it is that contrast that really sets it apart, because you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
So that's a good perspective to have. That's a good perspective.
So to wrap back around, something that I didn't cover, I said I was going to go over is like the different colors of the chakras and like what they do. Okay. So the root, the one at the base of the front.
I'll be the demonstrator. Yeah.
The root is red. It's at the base of the spine, and it has to do with survival instincts and grounding. So that's what we talk about. 95% of my clients come in are stressed, depressed, and anxious, and it's usually because there's an unbalanced root. So that's why meditation is good. Epsom salt baths are good. Grounding, so walking barefoot in the grass for 15 to 20 minutes is good.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and it's
I love being barefoot.
Yeah.
I love being barefoot. That's why my feet are always dirty.
Yeah,
I'm like, I hate shoes.
That's the way you can balance the roots.
Yeah.
And then you got your sacral, so the lower abdomen. It's orange, has to do with sexuality, intuition, self-worth, and self-esteem. And also with all of these, the colors that I'm telling you, you can also eat foods that are those colors, or you can use crystals that are those colors. And there's also some crystals that work for different chakras that aren't necessarily that color, but you can look up what chakras they're associated with. Then you have your solar plexus, which is at right there below the ribs. That is upper abdomen. It's yellow. It has to do with impulse, control, and ego. And that's also one that like I've said before, a lot of empaths usually have issues around that area, the battery, right? That's where you need to protect yourself if you're an empath. We should probably just do a whole thing on empaths sometime.
That's probably true. Is that why we instinctively you just cover yourself? Like if you're in an uncomfortable situation, how you just kind of close up a little bit. You're protecting your core almost. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Then you got your heart. So where the heart is, center of the chest, green. That has to do with compassion, spirituality. You have your throat, which is at the throat. That's blue. That has to do with communication and emotion. Third eye between the eyes, that's indigo, has to do with rationality, wisdom, and imagination. And then crown, top of head, purple, connection with the divine. So those are the main 7 chakras that we talked about at the beginning of the video. Those are the pillars that they are. That's what they help with. And like I said, you can also have crystals with each of those, or you can do a certain meditation for that specific chakra you want to work with. You need certain foods to do with that. And then some ways to balance them, right? Reiki, we talked about. That's number 1. Conscious breathing, so any type of breath work, which I think you really wanted to mention earlier. Aromatherapy, so, essential oils. They have certain ones for different chakras. Tai Chi, the chakra meditation we talked about, so you can focus on. There's some that are all the energy centers, or maybe you just want to focus on one chakra. You can find that meditation for that specific one. Crystals. Acupuncture, acupressure, we talked about that earlier. Yoga, and then certain foods to do with each of the chakras. So that's what I've got down about the chakras. Did anybody have questions about any of this?
Let's see. Let me look back, make sure. Let's see. I didn't see anyone except Jordan was asking to explain all the different chakras.
Yeah, which we just kind of covered that. There's more in depth to that, but that's the basics, of each of the chakras and what they have to deal with.
Yeah.
And we talked about why it's important to balance them and what can happen if they're not in balance and how that relates to disease and illness. And that's what you were talking about earlier, in the emotion code, right? He's healing people of these things that these other doctors have said, oh, you're going to have this for the rest of your life. You get to take these pills, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit because your mind is very powerful. That's why we have the placebo, the nocebo effect. So your thoughts and how you think certain things. And I really think that, let's use a cancer patient, for example. I really think mindset has a lot to do with how your body heals, obviously.
Right.
If you believe something's working, it's working. And I've had different experiences with different people I know that have had or hadn't had cancer. Have or had cancer. And it's just interesting to know them and know the different mindsets and how that transpires, and it can actually heal them, right? When they actually not only heal them with mindset, but when they start addressing those emotional charges we talked about, or incidents or traumas. I've got some people that I need to do some video testimonials with that you guys can really.
Oh, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, so I need to talk to them to see if they'd be open to doing that. But so that way I'm not telling their story, they can tell you themselves. But figuring out the root cause and actually going in there, working on it, and releasing that emotional charge, and then all of a sudden they don't have cancer. And it's not just with cancer. There's people that do that with diabetes, chronic pain is a big one, autoimmune diseases. There are so many things out there that if you actually work on the emotional root cause can be reversed, if not just completely gone. And that's what blows people's minds, because when you tell them that, they're like, oh, that's bullshit. That won't work. Try it.
Yeah.
Don't knock it until you try it. Now, if you try it, it doesn't work, then you can say whatever you want to say about it, and you're right to say whatever you want to anyway. But I just like to open up the door for you to try it. Try something different. Especially if you've tried everything else and it didn't work. That's how I got where I am today. Back
exactly.
when I was I tried all the Western medicine, nothing was working, and I was like, all right, well, what else? What's next? And that's how I got to where I am. And it was stuff that I would have never tried before.
Right.
But I really do believe you get to this point sometimes that you're just I got nothing
whatever,
else
I'm going to try it. Sounds crazy,
might as
but
well
who
try
cares?
and see what happens. So
yeah, that makes me think of so my grandfather, my dad's dad, he died a long time ago. But after he died, I got this Jonathan Livingston Seagull book. I don't know if you've read it. I'm sure some people have. It's been a long time since I've read it, but I got it out the other day, and because I remember he had written in it, he wrote a note to me when he was sick, and I wish I would have known this before, because I'd love to talk to him about it now. But in there, and all the info I have is just in the book. My dad knows a little bit about it, but not super detailed. But he had, I guess when my dad was a kid, he went to the doctor, and they found some sort of a mass in his brain, or a lump in his brain. And they were basically like, sorry, can't do anything.
Yeah.
and he was all about the power of positive thinking. And it went away. I guess he just decided, he was like, no, I got kids. Like, I'm just not going to do this. Like, this will not be the end of me. And it went away. And of course, you know, back when he died, I was still pretty young. I wasn't the person I am now today, but you know, time isn't a thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm able to look at that now and see that book, that was meant for me. That's totally my thing. That's who I am. Like, I believe that.
It's been waiting for you.
I believe that story 100%. And it's just really cool that he was able to share that with me now, even though he's not physically here. It's like, that's proof for me that this stuff works. Like, you can just decide. You just decide, this, I'm not going to let this happen. This isn't what I want it to be. And just decide, like, right now, that it's going to change and be different, because you have that power, because you are an energetic being in full control of your energy when you're aware of it, and your energy affects your body, and you're fully 100% in charge of that. You just have to know that you are. Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty cool to
that
see
sounds
that.
crazy to some people, but it's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
And if you guys want documentaries, I can give you documentaries all day. I'm actually working on a resource page for transcendwellness.com.
Oh, cool.
That's going to have I want to put all this stuff in one area so people can just go to it and get it, because that's how valuable it is.
Yeah.
And it's all free. It's just going to be on there in one area just so you can have it, so you can do your research your own self. So it's not just me telling you or Morgan telling you, like, do your research. What sticks with you, sticks with you. What doesn't. That's fine too.
Mm-hmm.
And what you said about your grandpa not being here, and you said what you said, energy, I mean, it doesn't matter. Time is irrelevant.
Right. It's just,
So you could meditate even now and try to connect with his energy. And that's why people that pass still come to us in our dreams. Like, it's that dream state. We're open to receive messages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Our walls are down. So you can always still communicate. I communicate with my cousin all the time that passed away. So I'm saying it can be done, people.
I believe it. And it's such a weird thing too, because you're like, oh, they're gone, but they're just, their body's gone. You know, they are still around. They still exist. Like, you don't just cease to be. Like, that's not a thing. Energy doesn't die. It just goes
Once
somewhere
it's created,
else.
it never ceases to exist.
Yeah.
That's literally what started my awakening. When my cousin passed away, that's the word for word. Everything you just said was like a light bulb came on my head, and those are the things I said to myself. And I started questioning anything and everything that I was ever taught, and like went back and unlearned certain things, like you've talked about, like, and discovering for myself, does this serve me? Is this what I believe, or is this something that was implanted or programmed into me from my parents, my grandparents, the school I was at, my friends, like, or is this something I truly believe? So that's really awesome.
Yeah. I love stuff like that. I love seeing when people, I call it the Matrix, or when their reality starts to crack a little bit. You say something, or they read something, and they're just like, oh my gosh, like, that actually makes sense, even though it makes no sense at all. Like, I love that moment. I like, call it the awakening. There's a mass awakening happening, because
100%.
Because even just like this video, someone who's watching now, this could open their awareness or expand their awareness. And like, that's why we do this. There's nothing, like, we don't make money off of it. Like, this is just two friends talking to however many friends are watching, just sharing what we know to help wake people up. That's why we call it awaken. Like, just awaken, just be aware of all the things that you aren't aware of now. I learn new things every day. I mean, it's crazy. And then you start to connect the pieces. It's like a puzzle.
And the thing with that is, once you have awareness to something, you can't ever be unaware of it.
That's so true.
So that's the point of why me and Morgan wanted to do this, to inform you guys of things that you may not even have heard of before. Maybe, you know, because you are the 5 people you're around the most, maybe somebody in your 5 core group isn't someone that talks about this kind of stuff. So we wanted to offer that, to have that space that you can have these seeds planted. You can ask these questions. You can have this open dialogue conversation like we have one here, and there's no judgment, no nothing, because We're here to inform, and we're here to help, like she said, awaken the masses, raise universal consciousness. That's the point of all of this.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
It really
Every
is.
single one of us has a purpose.
Yeah.
And
It's
some
true.
of you might still be asleep, not awakening to your purpose yet. Keep watching these, you will be, though.
Yeah. Keep
I
watching.
can guarantee it.
Yep.
I
And
can
I
guarantee
know,
you that most people that have watched this, even from the very beginning, have more awareness to certain things now than they did even when we were on episode 4 than they did before we started this.
I bet so.
So it's pretty cool.
Because they're watching. And I know, like, going back to just the people you surround yourself with, at least in my case, like, if I don't click with somebody, like, if I don't feel like I can talk about these sorts of things, or like, it's kind of weird and awkward, and you kind of go back in your shell, you know, you're just kind of like, okay, because it's just, you want to be free. And
I don't do that.
I do that still. I'm getting better, but you're just like, oh.
You'll get to the point where that doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, it's uncomfortable and it's weird, but I'm getting better at it, and just being like, say something random off the wall and people are like, what did you say? Like that.
And
You're just talking about aliens? Aliens aren't real, man. Yes, they are.
Here's the thing. Your truth is your truth, and everybody watching, your truth is your truth, and it does not matter necessarily if someone else agrees with you or not. It doesn't matter. It's not their life. It's not their truth, right? The point is, if it's your truth, you're the one supposed to live it, speak it, be it. And it doesn't matter how other people react. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to be aligned and authentic to yourself. And if you're worried about how other people are going to perceive you, you're not in alignment with yourself. And what I was telling her, like, she's working on that, and I was like that before. Like, when I first learned Reiki, when I came back to Oklahoma, like, I would not talk about it to people because I was like, they're gonna freaking think I'm crazy. I got people who said, you know, I'm doing voodoo or whatever, and I had all these things that I had to go through. And now I talk about it, and I don't care what that person thinks, because my truth is my truth, and I'm here to help people heal, and that's all that matters to me. You can take it, leave it, agree with it, not. I don't care. My point is, I'm here, and I'm going to continue doing what I need to do. I'm going to plant the seeds. I'm going to help people, and you're not going to get in the way to stop me, no matter what you think.
I love that. I love that. I feel like I'm that, like, I'm just going to do it, but I still have that. I don't know. It's like that. It's a programming, I'm sure, where I'm just like, oh, what are people going to think? And I think it is rooted in parenting too. Is like, oh my gosh, like, my kids are going to have friends be like, your mom's weird. And then they're going to be embarrassed of me. So everything is like rooted in the parenting aspect. Is like, I don't want to screw up my kids. Like, am I that crazy mom? But then I have to program in them. I'm like, just love who you are. And like, who cares if people think you're crazy? Doesn't matter what they think. So that is my biggest struggle. Here's
the thing with that. Somebody else said this on here. There's a bunch of comments we need to go back to, but Jennifer said, planting the seeds in others. That's what you're doing. She's 100% accurate on that. Even with your kids and your kids' friends, it's not, you don't worry about if they think you're the weird mom or whatever. That's not what you're here to do. You're not here to worry about what people think about you. You're here to be you. You're here to inform. You're here to raise consciousness, and that's all that matters. And you could be that one person in those kids' lives that they'll ever interact with, right? That thinks these things, and you plant these seeds, and it could maybe take years, right, to come to fruition. Yeah. But one day it can just click, and they're like, oh my God, I get it now. True. Yeah. Kind of like you were talking about with your grandpa, right? Like talking about the book and all these things. And back then,
15 years later,
back then, if you would have got that book and he would have had this conversation with you, you'd be like, Gramps, you're crazy. Like, we need to put you in a home. Like, what's going on? But now you're like, I get it. It makes sense now. Yeah. When you're ready to receive the information or the knowledge, it makes sense. That's like when you read a book, right? Sometimes if you start to read a book and you just cannot get, first of all, I'm not talking like a pretend like fantasy world book. I'm talking like something real. I guess it doesn't matter. Any kind of book. If you start reading this book and you just cannot get into it, that means at this time, that book is not for you. Go on to the next one. You can come back around to it, and you'll come back around when you're ready for it. And I tell people that all the time. If you start reading, though, and you just cannot put it down, that's the book meant for you. Yeah. Like the book I let you borrow, The 3 Ways of Volunteers by Dolores Cannon. It's like a 500 to 600 page book. I could not put that book down. And that was the biggest book I've ever read. And I got through it
It's a
so
big book.
quick. And I was like, Morgan, you need to read this book.
No, it took me like 6 months.
But you got what you were supposed to get from it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how long it was supposed to take.
Yeah.
It took the long it was supposed to take for you.
Yeah.
So.
And I remember I just was worried about feeling bad. I'm like, I'm keeping your book forever. And you're like, it's fine. And I was like, but I feel bad. And you're like, don't.
I lend my books out because what am I going to do? Leave it on my bookshelf? I've already read it. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to
So
collect
you're just
dust.
sitting there. Yeah.
Or I can share that knowledge with somebody else. And it's at no cost to them. Hey, here, borrow this book. Get what you need to get from it. And then I can pass it on to the next person. Yeah. There's no reason to feel bad. Okay, I'm going back up because there are several comments we missed. Dan said, what was wrong with you if you don't mind sharing? Dan, I was having, long story short, I was having chronic pain in my abdomen area. So kind of like solar plexus, between my solar plexus and sacral area, to the point where I was on a, what's it called, bachelorette party with some friends that were getting married in Vegas at the time. And I couldn't even walk because, you know, the Strip, everything's freaking far and there's so many people. It takes
forever.
But they make the signs so big. You're like, no, it's just down there. We're fine. We'll just walk. And then it's like 3 hours
I've
later,
made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, this is the worst. Anyway, so picture that, right? And this was back in 2015. Wow, it's been that long. So like 2015 is when this happened, when it first started. And it was after so that summer, I had saved a girl from drowning on the Illinois River. We were all going to, and I have not drank in 6 years. I just don't anymore. So we were out tubing with friends, and that's what people do is drink on the river. And we were going tubing, which we shouldn't have because it just rained. The water was high, the current was fast. And not only that, we were dumb and tied the tubes together, which don't ever do that, please. People drown on the Illinois River all the time. Anyway, so we're all tubing and everybody's drinking. I am probably the only sober person there. And then someone's sister was with us, and she was right next to me. Well, we're coming around a bend, and the tube catches a tree that's like dead, that's halfway out of the water, dumps her. I gut instinct react, jump on this tree. Luckily, I don't weigh a lot, so it didn't break, and I like start pulling her. She's already from like middle torso down, getting sucked into the tree from the current.
Oh my God.
I mean, look at me. I'm kind of strong. I'm just kidding. But I'm pretty small, right? And somehow, when I talk about that Hulk strength in that moment, it's a real thing because I weigh 110 pounds on a good day with muscle. I've lost a lot of weight and gained it back since being sick, but I somehow pulled her out against the current and like went to toss her back towards the tubes. And immediately, as soon as I did that, I had excruciating pain in my abdomen.
Oh gosh.
So then fast forward to like September of that year, so September 2015, I couldn't even walk. Like I was literally doubled over in pain, like in the fetal position. So when we went to Vegas, I couldn't walk the Strip, so I had to get the old people's scooter, and I was scooting around. Right? And my friends call my nickname to this day is Hot Wheels from that. But I loved it. It was fun. I was like, hell yeah.
I mean, it's kind of awesome. You're like, I don't have to walk.
But you know what is screwed up about the whole thing is that there were people on the Strip giving me dirty looks or like whatever because I looked fine, right? And that's this is why I say don't judge people. You don't ever know what someone's going through, and there are such things as invisible illnesses. People can be walking around with cancer and you not even knowing it, and if you judge them like, oh, you look fine, like whatever, but you don't know what they're going through. I was going through that with scooters. People making comments like you shouldn't be on that or whatever. I'm just like, who are you and why are you doing that to me? Like, what do you do? I'm not.
Mind your business.
Yeah, but I'm just saying people do that. So anyway, long story, as short as I can make it, that's what it was. It was pain, chronic pain in my abdomen is how all this started. Wow. Dan said negative energy amplifies pain. It took me a long time to figure that out. Correct. How can cats see things we can't? I believe it's because they are connected to higher dimensions. And I think, lots of different things. They say that cats are spiritual protectors, right? Like, if you think back to like even Egyptians, like you see other cats and stuff.
Yeah, they were big on cats.
Right? I think that's because they're psychic protectors to protect you from psychic attacks and stuff like that. I think that was all of the comments that we missed.
I like that. I didn't even think about the cat thing. Well, that makes sense. Wouldn't it be cool to like see how other things experience the world?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like
Like
think about our
dogs
human
and
eyes.
cats, and I
Like we
mean,
can only see so many colors, and there's so many more colors out here that we're not even able to see that are around us right now.
I think
That's
about
what
that a
blows my
lot.
mind.
I'm like, there's just colors like wandering around and I can't even see them. They're invisible. And like, how cool would that be? Like, what does that look like? Like if you could see that.
I picture it looking like Avatar.
Oh my God, I love Avatar. I want to go live there.
I
But
would
that would
totally.
be, yeah, that was beautiful. I kind of imagine it. I'm like, what if it's, you know how like bubbles, they kind of have that
Mhm.
swirling. I'm like, what is that just in the air? Like there's just all these colors swirling
Yeah.
around, or you could see, and I know some people can see people's auras. What's that?
Auras.
Auras. Um, I've always thought that would be cool to have, but I can't see people's
You
energies. But
can.
apparently it looks like a,
You can.
I can. I have
This,
not awakened that ability, I
you
guess.
haven't practiced it yet. That's all it is.
Yeah. I'm
So
like,
like
that
this
would be
wall
cool.
behind you won't work, but if you have
Yeah.
like a light colored wall behind you, or
Mm-hmm.
somebody like standing in front of a light colored wall, the
Mm-hmm.
way you do it is you focus on that person, but you focus on like kind of like you look at them, but you're kind of looking at your peripherals.
Yeah.
And if you do it long enough, you can start to see the outline of the color around them. It's
Oh,
pretty
that's
awesome.
cool. I've
I
done a
haven't
few of
worked with.
those where they take a picture
Yeah, I have
of
one. You
it.
want to see mine from like 2 weeks ago?
Oh, oh, you got yours 2 weeks ago? Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to see it. I want to see it.
Where did I put it? Hold on. I just moved, so I'm trying to remember where I put
Yeah,
it.
like it's here somewhere. Your
Let's
box
see.
or
Where
shelf.
is it? Oh, I found it. It is
Okay.
in a box. You're right. It's in my box that says Ashton, actually.
It's the
I have
action
an old
box.
cigar box.
Yeah.
There's Ashton on it, and I keep all my crystals and stuff like that in there.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So this is the one I just took. So not this Sunday, but last Sunday.
Okay. Oh, look how pretty.
It looks like sherbet Neapolitan ice cream.
It does. Oh, that's so
So
pretty.
that's the one I took. And I didn't put the dates on these others. I wish I did. I got 4 other ones. So these, I tried to remember like what order they went in, but.
Yeah.
So can you see these?
Yeah, I can see that. Oh, that's cool.
I think that was one of my first ones.
Yeah.
So this one I took right before, right before this picture 1 year. This was 2017, I think,
Mm-hmm.
2016. 2016. I took this picture moments after finding out my great grandmother just passed away.
Mm.
Like literally while I was going up to get my picture taken. My
Oh
mom got
my
the.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
And then I have lots of blue in most of mine, so.
You do have, yours are very colorful. You got all of the
And
high vibe colors. Oh, dang. Look at that.
yeah. So those are all my. I wish I would have dated these, but it's okay.
That's okay. Well, and that's cool to see just how energy
You
changes.
can
Like
change
it's
so
just,
quickly.
I mean, it just changes. You're evolving and things happen and you're
Yeah.
dealing with different emotions at different times. And
hmm
that's really cool.
Even in a moment, like if you were to take a picture right now of me, and then
Mm-hmm.
another moment later, it could be completely different. That's how quickly we switch our energy. And when we talk about the chakras and the energy field, like that's just, it's off of thoughts. Like that's how quickly it changes. It's crazy.
It is crazy. But I love that stuff. Has anyone else, if you're watching, has anyone else had their
Aura photo
aura
taking?
photographed? Because those are cool. I wish I had mine. Mine are somewhere, but I don't know where.
They're wherever they're supposed to be.
I know they're.
No, it's funny.
You're like my guru. You're just like say the right things all the time. I
I
love
just
it.
let it flow. I don't think I'm a guru. I just think
You're like I'm just Ashton. I'm just a person.
basically.
I'm just a friend. Yeah.
I'm just a being. That's all I am.
A
A being
being.
of light. I'm just here in this meat suit, hanging out with you guys on this
Meat
line.
suit. That term gets me every
I know.
time. Meat
That's why I
suit.
say it just to get
Oh,
it's funny.
oh, it sounds so gross. But it's true, I guess. Oh. Oh man. Have we covered everything? I feel like
That's
we've
all.
gone over an hour. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's all I had to cover tonight specifically.
Yeah. Unless anyone else has anything, you can type it down below.
Yeah, and if you're watching the replay, same thing. We also go back and check these. Like, so if you think of something you want us to cover or a question that maybe we didn't answer live and you are watching the replay, just leave the comment. We'll still reply just like if it was real time. So to answer any questions or cover anything in future episodes that we're going to have of the vlogcast that you might want us to cover.
Yeah. I wonder what we're going to do next week.
I don't know. It's your turn to pick.
It is my turn to pick.
Whatever you're feeling.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to feel it out.
Yeah, you'll know when you know.
And if anyone has suggestions, you can type them below because we're just spitballing. We're just doing whatever we need to do.
There's 4 people on here live. Is there any of you that are watching live or maybe watching the replay? Anything specific you'd like us to cover next week? I mean, we have a list to choose from, but just out of curiosity, you're the ones watching.
We can talk about anything. I mean, really anything.
And then if you are wanting to watch any of the replays, obviously you can go on either one of our pages and go to our photos, and then under photos, look at albums, it'll say videos. We'll have lots of videos. And then I have the playlist on my website, transcendwellnessok.com, and it'll have all the previous episodes, and I'll have the newest one at the top, so you can go back and watch them if you missed. And then, Morgan, what's your new website so they can go and check it out?
It's intentionally minimalish. Does not roll off the tongue easy. Intentionally minimalish.com. I'll put it in the comments.
It'll get easier the more you say it. So
yes, it will. Minimalish. I make up weird words, so it's appropriate for me. Let's see. I'll put it down here now. Let's see.
Well, we really do appreciate you guys joining us and staying on here. We know these end up being, I think we've averaged about an hour on most of ours, maybe an hour and a half on one. But it's pretty good because then there's enough time to have dialogue with people who are watching versus us just talking to you. We like to talk with you. We like to have open dialogue conversations. So I think an hour is a pretty good time. So thank you for everyone who stayed on the whole time. Thank you for people who even jumped on as long as they could. Thank you for watching the replay. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. We're live every Wednesday at 8:30 Central Standard Time on here. We'll be here every week. Unless something comes up, we'll let you know, like last week. But for the most part, we'll be here. So
for the most part,
that's all I got. You got anything else?
That's it. That is it.
All right. Well, have a good night, everybody.
You too. All right.
And also you. And if you are in Oklahoma and you're watching this, be weather aware tonight, just in case.
Yes.
I think we're good for the most part, but
you never know.
You never know.
Oklahoma, it can just like pop up out of nowhere, and you're like, "Oh my God, where'd you come from?" So yes, make sure you're all safe. Literally. I know, but it doesn't even phase us. We're like, tornado season, whatever.
I like it when it's tornado season. 1, because Twister's my favorite movie, and 2 is because the energy literally feels different in tornado season. I can feel it.
Oh yeah, well that's intense energy.
I freaking feel that, like that May 3rd, whatever one. That was in 2013. I felt it that day. Like I could feel the charge in the air. Like
that's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Mother Nature's powerful.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, you guys.
All right. Good night.
Peace out.